Jai Gurudev. Sorry, Dr. Brahma, got 1 minute late.
No problem, Dr. Savita. You can go ahead.
Okay. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Narayanam Namaskrityam Navam Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayam Udiriyet. Yesterday, Manalji did, I think, Shlok 29. So, shall I think Manana did not happen much. So, shall I repeat that or the. I'll share the screen. Page number. Shall I repeat the last part? 1 second.
Yes, yes, Savitaji.
Okay. I'll recite the Shlok 29. Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidенम आश्चर्यवत् वदति तथैव चान्यः आश्चर्यवचैर्मनः शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित्. This I'll read from the book, the meaning. One looks upon the self as a wonder. Similarly, another speaks of it as a wonder, and another hears it as a wonder. Still another, even after hearing about this self, does not understand it at all. So, this we read the wonder of Atma, that Atma is always a wonder, Ascharyavat. And when you understand Atma, it is a wonder. And when you do not understand, it is a wonder to you how anyone can understand it. So this wonder takes several forms. So because Atma was never, is not, but never seen by anyone, it was a Drishtapurva. And something like it, which only a guru or a acharya can give you the knowledge, though it is not the subject of knowledge, but it is that removing of the ignorance only. I will read from one who knows Atma is a wonder, right? Yeah. One who knows Atma is a wonder. We can also take the verse differently, using the word Ashcharyavat to mean that the person who knows the Atma is like a wonder. The affix Vat means like, and therefore Ashcharyavat means like a wonder. Among millions of people, only one person may be a seeker, and even among the seeker, only one person may see the truth of what is said. Understanding Atma is not easy. Therefore, one who knows Atma without any doubt whatsoever, one who sees it directly, Yaha Atmanam Pashyati, sorry, Yaha Atmanam Pashyati is a wonder because he or she has had to reverse an entire process. So, therefore, one who knows Atma without any doubt whatsoever, one who sees it directly, Yaha Atmanam Pashyati, is a wonder because he or she has had to reverse an entire process. Our natural trait is to follow the beaten track in our ways of thinking, in our pursuits, and so on. We constantly strive to make something of ourselves because initially we condemn ourselves as useless. We try to set the Atma up nicely by the pursuit of a samsari. First, we think of the Atma as a samsari. Then we look, then we then we look for some means of support so that the samsari can be better, so that he or she can develop some spine, some character, and so on. We think of the Atma as so drooped that it requires some kind of support system in order to be acceptable. This is the nature of people. They are like flowing water that find its own level. In this way, people tend to follow the beaten track. One, will just come. I think water is flowing. One second. So this paragraph is like the one who knows Atma without any doubt whatsoever, one who sees this directly, Ya Atmanam Pashyati, is a wonder because he or she has had to reverse an entire process. Reversing the entire process is like going uphill, the river going uphill is the reverse process. And what Swamiji is talking about, naturally what a person normally persons they are following the beaten track. Beaten track is that we are born, we live, we fulfill our hunger, our seek our pleasures, seek all the comforts, and for doing that we follow our uh, like our livelihood, whatever, and it is as if the unaware of that atma, we are just living in that anatma world basically. uh, not ever thinking about the Atma, which is the integral part of our system. Like it is, without it we cannot survive, or we can't live. So we what pursuits we have, they're all directed towards the anatma, and we try to set the atma up nicely by the pursuit of a samsari. It is only as on the superficial level, and we think atma as a samsari. Then we look for some means of support so that samsari can be better, so that he or she can develop some spine, some character, and so on. We think of the atma as so drooped that it requires some kind of support system in order to be acceptable. This is the nature of people. Like the water, like they are like flowing water that finds its own level. In this way, people tend to follow the beaten track. Just as water flows wherever there are no hindrances, there is no much of, it doesn't make much of effort, it just flows. So, similarly, uh, we do our whatever on a comfort level and on some basis greed, or maybe some uh, fulfilling the sense organ. So most of the activities are such of a normal person. Some may follow it better than others. If one person makes money in a particular pursuit, another may try to make the same money in another pursuit. But this is all really one beaten track with only minor variations. Nevertheless, such people are called creative, whereas the really creative person is one who questions the very seeker. He asks himself, am I a samsari? If one assumes that one is a samsari, any pursuit is a beaten track. The one who questions whether he or she is a samsari reverses the whole process. It is something like water climbing up the mountain. Water flowing down is nothing, it is natural. However, water that begins to flow upwards is truly a wonder, an ashcharya to behold. All of humanity would gather to see water climbing up a mountain. So, to have an inquiry is a one should have that inquiry in the mind, in self, that, and not just to keep on living without any uh, without any awareness, we can say. And then all of the humanity would gather to see water climbing up a mountain. And when a person is living such a life, it is then when he get noticed, and he is watched by the society, and his movements are like his life is, he gets pinpointed, you can say. So moving upwards, the river flowing upward is truly a wonder, because it needs so much of effort and consistency and discipline, and of course most of all that also because of that grace. Even to start the process of self inquiry is a big thing. A certain grace is definitely required, otherwise starting is not possible. Just as it requires a lot of horsepower to send water up a hill, So, too, for a person who has been following the beaten track to question whether he or she is a samsari requires a lot of horsepower, God power, or grace. And if the person discovers the truth, he or she is definitely a wonder. So anyone wants to add something to this? The one who talks about Atma is also a wonder. The one who knows then is an Ashcharya, and the one who talks about it is another Ashcharya. Because there is nothing really to talk about. Because there's nothing really to talk about, because it is not a subject of knowledge, so you can't talk about. It's only the removal of the ignorance. When someone comes and says, I am overcome by sorrow, the person who knows the truth cannot really talk about it because he or she does not see any sorrow or problem at all. It is also a wonder that someone who knows there is no problem takes the person who has sorrow seriously enough to talk to him or her about it, starting out as Krishna did, saying that there is no reason for sorrow. Asocyan anvasocha tvam. Create some elbow room in which to talk. Otherwise, the one who knows cannot talk at all. So, a person who has the knowledge of the self, he he will not he will not relate his problems, like his uh, daily routine problems, to he'll not be sorrowful because of that, because he is in that higher knowledge, and he doesn't give much weightage to things which are impermanent. Basically, it is because he knows that it has the nature of change, and it will things change, situation change, and the happiness, that ananda, is beyond all this. It's only the factor of time that makes the person sorrowful. And atma is not, it is not related to any uh, time factor. If Krishna had simply said, I am Ananda, you are Ananda, we are all Ananda, there would be nothing to talk about. To tell a person who says that he or she is sad, no, you are Ananda, leaves no room to talk, although the statement is true. To say that sorrow has no basis requires proof, and Krishna had 17 chapters in which to prove that what he said was a fact. He knew that to start by saying, You are Ananda, would give him no room to talk. Instead, Krishna talked as though there was a problem, and as though and he as though solved it also. So this was how, as a sorry. This was how Krishna was dealing it, because if he would have said that uh, this is the, I've gone so beyond, just touching of the screen. 1 second. beyond. So he's acting as a psychologist, as a it is taking Arjuna in like 17 chapters to prove that you are an Ananda. So thus the talking itself is an Ashcharya, because what cannot be talked about is talked about. What cannot be verbally mentioned is mentioned. What cannot be captured by words is presented by words. This is indeed a wonder. The one who teaches is also a wonder, and the one who listens is another wonder. Can you tell an ordinary practical person who asks you what you are studying that you are learning self knowledge? No. If you did, your sanity would undoubtedly be questioned. So, because it is not a normal thing which people have their way of living. The self is something that is impossible to talk about, and the one who comes to listen, the one in many millions, is a wonder. Such a person thinks that knowledge of the self is very important, whereas everyone else thinks of it as nonsense. They think those who take 3 years to study self knowledge are wasting their time. They will say that you are frittering away the prime of your life, that you could have had 2 children in the same amount of time. There are so many aspects to this wonder, the wonder with the capital W. Any way you look at it, it is a wonder. The one who is able to see the Atma is a wonder, or we can say that the one among many who sees the Atma does so with wonder. Also, there is no wonder that even after listening to the teaching, there are those who do not understand. The second interpretation is offered by Shankara in his commentary on this verse. So 29 shloka ends. Please give your inputs further. We can. It is how the Jagat is, we can say. Sansar is. And when the person, he seeks, he has that self inquiry, he becomes a seeker. When that journey is going on, he is questioned, and he is judged, and he is commented on. But once a person reaches some level, and it gets shown, like people watch what changes. The changes are very obvious, and things have changed. So then they start wondering. So, but it's only in millions that this wonder happens, because to reach that state again is tedious and a very, like walking on the edge of a sword, especially for a family person. So shall we move ahead? Shlok number 30. देहि नित्यं वध्योऽयन् देहे सर्वस्य भारत तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि. Bharata, O descendant of Bharata, Arjuna, Sarvasya Dehe, in the body of all, I am this Dehi, indweller of the body, Nityam, forever, Avadhya, indestructible, Tasmad, therefore, Tvam, you, Sarvani, all, Bhutani, beings, Shochitum, to grieve, Na arhasi, ought not. Bharata sarvasya dehe ayam dehi nityam avadhya tasmat tvam sarvani bhutani shochitum na arhasi. This Atma, the indweller of the bodies of all beings, is ever indestructible, O descendant of Bharata. Therefore, you ought not to grieve for all these people. Here, Krishna summed up his original statement that he made in verse 11, that there is no cause for grief. Atma is Sat and therefore Nitya, meaning that it is not subject to birth, death, change, and so on. In the live physical body of any being, there is a Dehi, an indweller of the body, Deha, and this Dehi called Jivatma is not subject to destruction. It is Avadhya. Vadhya means that which is subject to destruction, that which can be destroyed. Avadhya means that which is not subject to destruction. The Dehi is not subject to destruction at all. It is Nityam Avadhya. It is always indestructible, meaning that even when the body is destroyed, the Atma is not destroyed. This is the point that Krishna wanted to establish. The Dehi, the indweller of the body, is not destroyed even when the body is destroyed. This being so, Krishna told Arjuna that with reference to all living beings, Sarvani Bhutani, you do not qualify to be sad. Tvam shochitam na arhasi. Krishna backed his statement with all possible arguments. For the body, Deha, which is Anitya, there is no way that it will not be destroyed. For the Nitya Atma, there is no way of destroying it. Either way, therefore, there is no room for grief based on death. Nor is there any room for grief on the basis of any other situation, as has already been pointed out, because any situation that causes you sorrow is not a permanent situation. Therefore, dukkha also comes and goes, as does sukha. Because there is no content to dukkha, we cannot even say that a particular object or situation causes it. It is one's thinking with reference to a particular object or situation that actually causes dukkha. There, there can be physically painful or uncomfortable situations, but these are different from sadness. Here we are dealing with sadness, not mere physical pain. So the verse number 11, which Swamiji mentioned, was, I'll just see, verse number 11. Yeah. It started with the preaching of Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Ashocyananvashocastvam pragyavadanshcha bhashase gatasuncha nanushocanti panditaha. This was the teaching which Bhagavan gave about. So this this line here that says there is no content to the dukkha, we cannot even say that a particular object or situation causes it. It is only one's thinking with reference to a particular object or situation that actually causes dukkha. So, same situation or same object, but how one perceives and how other perceives. So, it is only the difference in the thinking process, how that situation is perceived, which causes dukkha. And there can be physically painful or uncomfortable situations, but these are different from sadness. And here we are dealing with sadness, not mere physical pain. So the nature of sadness does not depend on what you have or do not have. It is a particular way of thinking. Sorrow is something centered on oneself, and this topic is the subject matter of the Gita. Sorrow is something centered on oneself, and this topic is the subject matter of the Gita. Thus, there is this refrain: you should not grieve, na tvam sochitu arhasi. Having stated that there is no reason for sorrow, Krishna then takes up the same topic from other standpoints. In fact, he exhausted every possible standpoint. Introducing the next verse, Shankara says that from the standpoint of ultimate reality, Paramartha Tattva Apekshayam, sorrow or delusion is not possible. So shokha moha va na sambhavati. Shokha moha va na sambhavati. And it is also not possible from the standpoint of relative reality. Arjuna may well have said to Krishna, I am worried about Bhishma and the others, and you are telling me that Atma does not die. Bhishma is my grandfather, a man whom I respect. Therefore, I cannot kill him. Just to think of it causes me sorrow, and all you say is that he is the Atma, he is eternal, etc. What are you doing to me? When I am sorrowful because someone is dead, you cannot come and tell me that no germ can kill the Atma when, in fact, the germs killed the person. It just does not work. Here too, what you are saying is too much for me. So, this is the agony which Arjuna is going through. Arjuna would not really have argued in this way because he himself had asked for self knowledge. Until he asked Krishna to teach him, Krishna did not teach. He only encouraged him to fight. Only when Arjuna asked did Krishna begin to teach him. Because Arjuna wanted Shreyas, he told Krishna that he was his Sishya and therefore Krishna taught. Even though this was not Arjuna's thinking here, Krishna nevertheless exhausted the topic. He did not allow any standpoint, even relative standpoints, to go unattended. In this way, from both the absolute and the relative standpoints, we can understand Krishna's statement that there is no reason for sorrow. What this line is meaning, I'm not very sure. Even though this was not Arjuna's thinking here, Krishna nevertheless exhausted the topic. Is it related that Krishna wanted to preach or give this knowledge to the coming generations that it was as if create the situation created because he the thought which arrived in Arjuna's mind that he should seek that knowledge that he wanted Shreyas is again, is it being uh, directed by Krishna, even though this was not Arjuna's thinking here. I'll read this paragraph again. Arjuna would not really have argued in this way because he himself had asked for self knowledge. Until he asked Krishna to teach him, Krishna did not teach, he only encouraged him to fight. Only when Arjuna asked did Krishna begin to teach him. Because Arjuna wanted Shreyas, he told Krishna that he was his Sishya, and therefore Krishna taught. Even though this was not Arjuna's thinking here, Krishna nevertheless exhausted the topic. He did not allow any standpoint, even relative standpoints, to go unattended. In this way, from both the absolute and the relative standpoints, we can understand Krishna's statement that there is no reason for sorrow. This is a small about the nature of sadness. Yes, please give your thoughts on this. This Atma, the indweller of the bodies of all being, is ever indestructible, O descendant of Bharata. Therefore, you ought not to grieve for all these people. New word has come, Avadhya, which is not subject to destruction. So many adjectives we have learned for the Atma since this chapter has started. Bhagwan has started his teachings. Nobody is speaking today. Why? Please give your input so that some other, like whatever, maybe I'm missing somewhere or some other um, like thing. Every everything has different angles of uh, understanding. So each understanding is important. Nityam Satya. Shall I move ahead then? Okay. Swadharmapi chaveksha navikampitumarhasi dharmyadiyuttachreyonyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. Swadharmapi chaveksha navikampitumarhasi dharmyadiyuttachreyonyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. Swadharmam, one's own duty, apicha, and also avikshaya, looking at, vikam, vikampitu, vikampitum, to waver, na arhasi, you ought not, he for dharmyat yuddhat, then a righteous war, kshatriyasya for a kshatriya, anyat any other, shreya good, navidyate does not exist. Swadharmam apicha avikshaya vikampitum na arhasi he dharmayat yuddhat kshatriyasya anyat shreya navidyate. And also, from the standpoint of your own duty, you should not waver, for there is nothing greater for a Kshatriya than a righteous war. Shifting from the absolute standpoint, Krishna then talks about the relative standpoint of dharma, what is right, what is to be done. This was a natural outcome of Arjuna's earlier and numerous comments on dharma. He had said that societal confusion would be the result of this war, and he would be the cause for the confusion. He had said, "We have had, O Krishna, that those men who have destroyed the family duty live in hell." Gita, first chapter 44 verse. Thus, Krishna looked at it from the standpoint of dharma as well as from other standpoints, including worldly gain, as we shall see. Avikshaya means seeing from the standpoint of swadharma, seeing what is to be done by oneself. Again, Arjuna was being told here that he was not eligible to develop this trembling hesitation. Navikam pitum arhasi, looking at the situation from the standpoint of his swadharma, his duty. I'll read this paragraph again. Avikshaya means seeing from the standpoint of swadharma, seeing what is to be done by oneself is avikshaya. Again, Arjuna was being told here that he was not eligible to develop this trembling hesitation. Navikam pitum arhasi, looking at the situation from the standpoint of his swadharma, his duty. First of all, Arjuna was a soldier, Kshatriya. Secondly, he was a crown prince, which meant that along with his brothers, He was supposed to protect Dharma. He was not just a recruited soldier with only certain prescribed duties to do. He was a royal person belonging to the royal family and also one of the crown prince. Arjuna's duty was to uphold law and order. He had to administer and protect the kingdom. That was his job, his dharma. When the Pandavas came back to claim their country after their 13 years of exile, Duryodhana refused to give their kingdom back. All their efforts at a compromise failed. He refused to give them even a needle point of land, let alone their country. Therefore, Duryodhana was the usurper. Every day that Duryodhana occupied the throne, he did so illegally, and this was a dharma. Krishna told Arjuna that being a Kshatriya, he could not just sit and allow a dharma to continue. Therefore, from the standpoint of his own dharma, Arjuna ought not to waver or hesitate about what he had to do. Swadharmam apicha avikshaya na vikampitum arhasi. So he is directing Arjuna who not to hesitate, as it is his duty to maintain that dharma, because he is not just a soldier, he is a prince who has been ordained to take care of his kingdom. Arjuna's duty. A soldier is specially trained in warfare and must practice continually during peacetime to keep the powder dry and to keep his wits sharp. If he has to retire before a war actually occurs, his skills go unused, although it was his and others' good fortune that there was no war. Not to fight is also proper if there is no cause to fight. But as Krishna said, if that same soldier gets a chance to use his training legitimately, there is no greater opportunity than that to show his skills. Generally, when such chances come, there is always some legitimacy about them. To shoot someone merely because he or she spoke out of turn is definitely illegitimate. But here, for Arjuna, there was a legitimate chance. Dharmat anapetam dharmyam. Dharmad anapetam dharmyam. That which was not against dharma. The battle Yuddha was based purely on dharma, and the one who brought Arjuna to it deserved to be punished. This then was a dharma yuddha, an expression that is often misused. Here, the dharma yuddha was first of all to establish dharma. Also, the person who had flagrantly violated dharma by usurping the kingdom deserved to be punished. Thus, Krishna, as much as said to Arjuna, the battle is right in front of you, Arjuna. You now have to chance. You now have a chance to demonstrate your weapons and skill, and it is your duty to do so. Arjuna's weapons had gone unused for a long time. They had been stockpiled and maintained so that they would not become rusty. Most of his missiles were in the form of mantras, and Arjuna had to repeat these mantras daily because they were the power behind his weapons. This was how the weapons were kept alive and was how Arjuna kept the powder dry. Arjuna had done what was required, and now a time had come when all his acquired skill was to be used for the purpose for which it was learned and stockpiled. He did not learn all this to destroy people or to demonstrate his prowess, but to protect Dharma, and now was his chance to do so. Thus, from the standpoint of his own Dharma as to what had to be done, there was no room whatsoever for lamentation or hesitancy. This was one argument that Krishna put to him. Another argument Krishna put forward was that for a Kshatriya, especially one of Arjuna's stature, there was nothing more appropriate for him to do. What is to be done by you, Arjuna, is to be done by you. And this Yuddha is something that is to be done by you, said Krishna. I think we should stop here. We have finished chapter 31. I think we'll have Manana tomorrow because I think it's how much time is there? We have few minutes, so please share. Today no one has shared anything. Only I am continuously speaking. I'm sorry. I'm speaking consistently. So please share. I'll stop sharing and we can. It's 8:23.
Most women are helpful by nature and want to solve the problems of people around them. Most women
So today no one, all are in silence. So I think I'll play the meditation. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukbhag bhavet. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Meditation is accepting this moment, living every moment totally with depth. Let us keep our spine erect and body relaxed and eyes closed. Relax your shoulders. Keep a big smile on your face. You're sitting like the statue of Buddha, very serene and with a serene smile on your face. Relax your body. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. Become aware of your chest region, throat and chest region. If you notice some tension in the body, just let it be. Accept those parts of the body where you feel a tension The other parts are in comfort. Other parts are at peace. Become aware of that also. There are many good things about you and inside of you. Acknowledge them. They will never leave you. And the negative aspect you may see in you is never going to stay with you forever. They are all guests for some time. Let them be. Sit with the total acceptance of yourself the way you are at this very moment. Total acceptance of what is now here lead us to deeper meditation. Let go of all the efforts. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let go of all your effort and be in this emptiness. And slowly and gradually become aware of body and surroundings. And you may gently open your eyes.